Hello, everyone. You're listening to Pinky and Nicole on the Real Out Loud podcast. Join us as we discuss how to survive when we find ourselves reeling from life's difficult and sometimes unusual situations. Let's go and join our host. Hello, guys, and a warm welcome to another installment. Our platform is built on the stories of everyday people, and today is no different. We exist to give you, the listener, and you, the everyday person, a place to come tell your story. This offers an opportunity to gain new perspective, to gain insight, and to equip the next person, or sometimes to just reveal the truth about the realities in which people are really living in.
Definitely. There are perceptions that are out there about sex that make it so hard for us to see when sex becomes an addiction. Sex is no doubt a personal, fun, exciting, and a healthy part of our lives. However, when our minds are flooded with sexual thoughts, desires, urges, and behaviors that start to control us more than we have control over them, and they interfere with our daily activities, then it becomes a problem.
So to explore and talk more on this, we are actually joined by a guest in the studio. Hi, Baba.
Hi guys, how are you?
We good. A brief introduction.
All right, I am Baba, 34-year-old male. I'm single, and I have a problem.
You have a problem with an addiction.
It's the same thing.
It is. All right. So you said you're single, 34.
Yeah.
Okay. So Baba is experiencing a struggle with a sex addiction, and we stand to pronounce the fact that addictions don't define us, but they do affect us and the people around us, hence the need to address them. So while we are having this discussion, Nick and Baba, it is important for our listeners to know that we are not summing up everyone's experience with this addiction through Baba's experiences.
Okay.
But our attempt is to actually explore and share on the experiences.
And more often than not, people actually mistaken and get confused drawing a line between an individual who has a merely high libido and someone who has a sex addiction.
Okay, this is going to be very interesting. Let us just jump right into it. You nervous, Baba?
Quite.
I have a question. So in your case, is there something that you have been able to identify as a root cause of the addiction?
I wouldn't say I do.
Okay.
Because I just realized at some point that this is too much.
It's getting out of hand.
It's getting out of hand, out of control. Well, I'm not in control.
Do you want to narrate it a little bit just to give us a breakdown of when you realized it is a problem? When did it start? How old were you at the time?
At first, I did not see it as an addiction.
Okay.
It was just part of life. But as I think I started doing a bit more research and going deeper into it in 2011.
When you do that reflective thinking, at what age do you reflect back and see as the age where you started having the problem?
That's the thing. It was not a problem. It was just me growing up. That's how I saw it. So it became a problem when I started not being in control, and that is maybe age 21.
Okay.
Age
2021.
Okay. What was going on at the time?
The triggers. Were they triggers?
I wouldn't say they were triggers. It's just an urge, if I may put it like that. The same urge I would like to think smokers get, in a sense.
Okay.
It's like you just need a hit to calm you down or to bring you back to normal, because you don't feel normal at that time.
Okay. What was your biggest struggle? I believe sex addiction is quite a broad term. For other people, it's pornography that they are addicted to. For other people, it's the masturbation part that they are obsessed with. For other people, they start to cheat, maybe, like the pathological cheating, because maybe you want to satisfy that sexual urge, or maybe you're just sitting there, your thoughts are flooded with, thoughts of sex or desire
Obsession with
for sex. Maybe you even start to ignore activities or not do stuff, or maybe sometimes you find yourself depressed. What was your struggle like?
In all honesty, it will be all of the above.
All of the above. Okay.
It will be all of the above because I've encountered all of them. It's just that when I started therapy, I tried therapy, but I realized it's not helping me actually.
How did you get the courage to start therapy? Because I've seen from mere exposure and hearing stories out there, one of the addictions that people struggle with in silence more is sex.
Yeah.
Because sex is not a comfortable topic that we can just talk about. Particularly, we're coming from certain societies where there are standards, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't talk about sex if you're out of marriage. At a certain age, maybe 21, no one would be thinking you're that active. So how did you get the courage to actually start talking about it?
It became a problem for me when I realized I was undressing women everywhere I go.
Okay, so for you, it was more of the mental kind of like fantasy?
No, I was even the physical, but now everywhere I am, when I see a woman, I start imagining what she would look like naked so I can satisfy some urge inside.
Can I ask you a question and let me know if you're comfortable to answer to it? Like you said, you did all of the above out of the signs of sex addiction that I've been speaking about, right?
Yes.
Can you give us a roundup, like number of people that you have had sex with?
2 women a day.
Okay.
For a month.
Okay. And was the sexual activity that frequent? Because remember, what we are trying to do is we are trying to help someone probably who thinks they've got a high sex drive, but they actually don't know that this is a problem.
It's an addiction.
So what are the few things that actually made you feel like, no, this is a problem? Did it get to a point where it was hurting you physically, emotionally, maybe spiritually, or relationship-wise, or financially?
All right. Relationship, yes. It comes to a point where you have a partner who cannot keep up with your sexual needs.
Your sex drive.
And then on top of that, you want more than just one partner at a time. You can't be satisfied with the one partner as well. Right?
Okay.
So that's where you start cheating. You would literally I was not married, so it would be a girlfriend who comes to visit. She'd be in the house, drive out to maybe say, I'm going to buy bread or something, only to go and have sex with someone else outside, then come back home. And there would be a situation where, say, going out for fun with the guys, come back with a woman, have sexual relations overnight, in the morning, take her home. When on my way back, pick up another one, afternoon drive, take her home and get a third one for the night. That's how bad it can get. So it's draining spiritually. Firstly, it makes one feel a bit worthless and dirty, if I may put it like that.
Okay.
And it has not affected me financially as such, though it does have financial implications. Going around, picking up with the people, buying them food.
You have to feed them.
That's an expense that you'll have to cover, yeah. And I think that's the side effects or the effects that I think I suffered. And keeping a relationship is a problem.
I'm really getting to see the other side of it. You know, when we think of the word sex, we get excited.
Yeah,
our blood rushes through our brain and our bodies.
Get hot.
You get excited, but when you're talking about the emotional implication of it, I'm starting to see another side to things. How a person can actually start to even get depressed when they are under like such a such a situation? Is there a way that you adopted as a way of surviving that feeling afterwards? Because I know, like, when you're talking of an urge or an obsession, right, you are talking about something that you don't have control over. You want to do it right now, there and then, to get that immediate satisfaction. And then
Correct.
the logic and the rationale or the reasoning comes after you've actually engaged in the act, right? That's when you start to feel dirty and worthless. Is there something that helped you to survive that feeling before you go and act on the edge again?
No.
Because I know other people,
did
maybe they smoke or drink.
I could not find any
Okay.
comfort for that, actually. It's internal. What happened was I got to a point where I stopped caring how I
Okay.
feel.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, afterwards.
Okay.
So it was just a norm. This is what's going to happen. It's fine. So I started living with it.
And then,
Because honestly, there is no cure for this. There's sessions or SAA groups. They would give one antidepressants to help one calm down or just suppress the urges, but there's no specific cure for sexual addiction.
When you're talking of SAA, just for someone who's listening out there, what's the full word to the abbreviation?
Sex Addiction Anonymous.
Okay. Okay, so it's like a support group, kind of like where you go
Group. Yeah.
and see other people that have experienced the same thing as you. And what do you do?
I only had a Zoom session once, but
Okay.
I quickly dismissed because I did not like the way it was going. It didn't seem like it would psychologically help me. It would rather frustrate at that time. So I never tried it again.
Yeah. You know, when I'm talking to you, like right now, when you're sharing your story with us, you are telling us how you struggled from a spiritual perspective. Would you say probably someone can actually benefit from seeking spiritual guidance?
Yes, you can. Even the SAA, it can help.
Okay.
I think the first step is having that, and the word is escaping now, but the same open mind. I think, we can say open mind. But remember now, as sex is, it's to discuss it in a group with people. This is SAA. It's very, very, very uncomfortable.
Tell me something.
Even if those are the people you have with. Yes.
When you do have sex, I know that you are calling yourself a sex addict, right? But do you have moments where you actually enjoy sex?
I do. I actually enjoy it every time.
So
it's just that I'm having it more. I feel like having it more than I wish to have it, if I may put it like that. There are points where I feel like, okay, why did I want to have sex? Why did I do it? Why did I masturbate?
Is there times you don't feel guilty afterwards?
After having sex?
Yes, even if you enjoyed it. Because obviously if it's an edge, it means that you're going to enjoy it when you take part in it, all right? But afterwards, you outlined a very important point to us, that you get to points where you feel like worthless and dirty afterwards. Are there moments that you actually enjoy it during the event itself, and then afterwards you don't feel worthless or dirty?
Yes. The worthless feelings, in my case, comes after a period of time. It's not after every time. There just come a point where you feel like, man, I'm not okay, right? And I start looking back. What is it that's draining me? Why am I this low? And I end up with the conclusion of that behavior. This is what's making me feel this way. Because after having sex, I wouldn't say I have guilt. It's after that masturbation. Masturbation is the one.
Yeah, I wanted to actually talk on touch on the masturbation. Like, when does it come in play? Like you're saying in your case, you have 3 or 4 women in a day. When do you get the time would have. Sorry. When would you get the time to now even masturbate?
Even at that time when I was very, very active. You would leave your woman in the bed and go masturbate. But it's possible.
That's hectic.
So it gets bad. I can't understand it.
So before the break, we were talking about the masturbation. Like you will still masturbate even when you have a person in the house. So it was an addiction now on the masturbation and the pornography.
The thing is, it's more like you have to satisfy a certain urge, and that's those sex might be nice at that time, and you get to reach your climax and all that. There's something that still needs satisfaction. I can't explain what it is.
Yeah, because I think I
And
was
then you'd
coming to
seek.
that. What drives you from leaving a person that you're actually with to go and masturbate in the bathroom?
Yeah, I can't put a word. I do not know what it is. Sometimes you don't get to satisfy it, and that's when you feel worthless most of the time. It's, okay, why did I just do this?
Can I ask you, do you try out with strangers or with just the people that you know?
Try out having sex.
Yes. Do you approach
Much
strangers
nicer with
or
strangers.
have you ever found yourself ignoring other activities? Like maybe you're at
Studying.
work or you're studying or you're supposed to be busy. Maybe you're at a funeral or something and that age just hits you and you just want to satisfy it
You
there and then.
ignore all your
What do
other
you do?
responsibilities.
So if the situation allows that you can do it without anyone seeing you, yeah, you do it.
Has it ever gotten to a
I
point
do.
where you do it in public?
No. In public, but without anyone seeing that I'm doing it.
Okay.
Oh,
Because I remember back in high school, I once did it in class. I didn't see it as a problem back then.
Okay.
Only when I'm older and see that, yeah, man, this goes a long way back.
Okay.
That is a problem.
I'm having a little bit of an interest with your life. Ne? I understand sometimes they say some of the causal factors for the addictions is because maybe you have been through some form of abuse at some level in your life or some form of trauma. They can be triggering effects in a sense that can cause a person to actually find comfort,
coping mechanism or something
or
like
being
that.
in a dysfunctional home to find comfort in that. Would you say in your experience you've been through something like that? Maybe physical, sexual, emotional abuse, maybe coming from a dysfunctional a home environment or suffered any form of trauma?
I think what I suffered would be I refuse, or my brain refused to call it sexual abuse. But
Okay.
I've had incidences where it is rape, isn't it? Raped by my aunts as when I was younger, where I was introduced to this to sex as a young boy by my aunts who were older than me.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more on that?
I have not prepared that part of me to have to discuss it now.
All right, guys. So, moving on from that, I actually have a question for you, Baba. Did it ever get to a point where it got to be harassment, like when someone would report you for harassing them, or someone who say you're having perverted thoughts towards me and stuff like harassment? Did it get to that, rape and stuff like that?
Not to the best of my knowledge. I at some point had a partner though who threatened and said they felt that it was afterwards.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether it was in the manner in which we had sexual intercourse or how they got to that, but they could not even explain as well. But they felt like I took advantage, or they also tried to say they are not saying that I'm raping or I raped them, but after that specific encounter,
Could it be?
I am not sure whether it was my behavior or it was just the way that incident
They
went.
perceived it. Okay. Okay.
So, do you agree that the consequences of sex addiction are harmful? And if you do, What has been affected in your life and the lives of the people that you actually care about?
It is only harmful. There's no good in it.
Okay.
It's just sad that getting help for it is difficult, but it's only harmful if anything. And my life personally, I have a daughter,
Okay.
and yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Your relationship is strained.
it is. The thing is, because I've been in a place where I would let me say degrade women by undressing them in my head, for example. That was disgusting for me at some point. I wanted to distance myself from women so I don't have to go through that. Now I have a daughter.
And how do
I
you
would like
feel?
you to put 1+1 there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's bad. I mean, I even relationship wise, I choose not to engage in one because I feel it's just gonna bring pain to the other person more.
When you're talking
I
about your
wish, I
daughter,
wish
how do you feel?
I
Do you
had a
feel
child.
it's something that you brought upon yourself? Or is it something that you are struggling with that is something you also don't want to have, but you actually have it? What's your
The
narrative?
sex addiction.
Yeah. What's your
I
narrative?
wish I could just rip it out of me, but it's at this point I want to say it's impossible. But I'd rather use difficult because I just have not found a way
Okay.
to
Yeah.
deal with it.
The relationships can be lost due to shame as well. And time
Mm.
is most probably lost while indulging yourself in the behavior.
And I'm even thinking, do you get to share this? Like let's say alcohol, then you actually get to share with someone close to you. Like I have an alcohol problem and addiction. With sex,
No,
do you get to actually speak to
I
someone outside professionals?
I hardly do that.
Are you in love at this point? Or were you in love during, your struggle?
I'm not sure. I know what love is now.
Sometimes maybe the love, the passion, and the emotional aspect of the sex got lost somewhere in the addiction.
You get attached to a person momentarily for the sex,
Mm,
and you get attached to a person because of the sex.
mm,
So I'm not sure if love is it. Not,
Mm.
I won't lie.
mm,
It can be it, but because of this constant, continuous desire to have sex, most importantly with different people,
mm.
you tend to ignore a specific person, even if there is that emotional attachment.
Yeah, actually, wanna touch on overcoming the addiction. I know we've been touching on it here and there as we were going. I
Yeah.
feel like it's worth noting that sex addiction manifests in different forms. Examples being addiction to pornography, prostitution, masturbation, um,
Sadistic behaviors, exhibition, excessive sexual pursuit as well.
and some people also describe one of the symptoms of such addictions as feeling immobilized or crippled by the desire itself.
Mm. You know that point where a person struggles to maintain control, and then it seems to be like one of the big lines that separates what's normal sexually and what's an addiction.
Coming to you, Baba, I actually have a question. Are there things that you've been able to do to either avoid or manage such a situation where you feel you have little to no control over the sexual desires?
I've done the most in terms of satisfying their desires. I've done almost everything
Okay.
except
Sadistic behavior.
uh, yeah,
How did I know
How did
that?
she
except
know?
that you can.
I'm
How
asking.
did she know? I'm having questions now. Okay.
No, like from talking with him, you can actually become.
Okay. I'll leave it at that.
Why am I always a suspect in the studio?
So were there
Anyway,
times
so
where you felt you needed to avoid, or you managed to do that?
there are some distractions that can help you
Do you want to share a few of those?
Avoid it. They are personal.
Or they
personal.
are subscribed to you as you share your experience.
Yeah, it's look. It might not even work for someone else too.
Okay.
But I'll just touch on. Say you like reading.
Okay.
So if you can find a way to convince yourself to read instead of masturbating or watching porn or having sex, that can help you beat the urge.
So it's kind of like replacing the negative behaviors with more positive ones.
With more positive.
Okay.
But then again, the replacement behavior might not ever be positive because of the previous experiences that you've had. You don't like reading. You don't like sports.
Okay.
You don't like watching TV. So all that's fun for you is the negative stuff. No.
I know probably if you can't sleep, probably you may have had some sleeping tablets or something prescribed to you. Did it help?
I stopped taking the medication because I was employed back then. I was working, right?
Okay.
So I would come back home at 12.
Okay.
Can't take a sleeping pill if you ever a day, and then I would not sleep then.
Okay.
Literally stay the whole night, just bath and go to work the following morning without sleeping.
Okay.
So I had to stop the medication.
Okay, so while treatments do actually exist for like sex addictions, most people don't normally get help because of shame, and some because probably they are afraid to lose partners. Some may even be unsure whether their behavior or ages should be classified as an addiction or not. Well, we are here to help, and so here's a quick checklist that you can use. Okay. If you can relate with these symptoms, then you should be consulting a healthcare professional to assist you. Do you feel powerless over how you act sexually?
Your sexual choices are making your life unmanageable. Shame, embarrassment, self-loathing over your sexual acts. Your sexual behavior needs to change, but you fail to do so.
You are so preoccupied with the sex, with the sex, that it has become like a ritual to you. So, guys, these are some of the things that probably you need to be on the lookout for. So, we get to the end of our episode for today. We really want to thank you, Baba, for joining us on this platform. It was a pleasure to have you. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. And I hope someone learned something from today's discussion. Do you have any brief comments, something that you want to say to us?
Yes. Well, firstly, just a reminder that sex addiction is a problem.
Yes.
Though if some might just see it or use it as something for pleasure, because it can work like that, but it is a problem. And there is help for it. It just needs one to be open-minded about it and approach the right platforms and the right people that are prepared to help. Okay. Sessions, psychiatry, it can help. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you so much. We are grateful for having you here. So in closing, guys, we have heard Baba's story, and in as much as we see that when a person has the addiction, sometimes it's very difficult for them to reach out for help, and this addiction affects relations in all forms and aspects. Yeah. It's also important to notice and realize that you actually need the support of other people to work on the addiction itself. Support is a very essential thing to this. We heard of his personal experience of seeking treatment from therapy, support groups, the SAA, which is the Sex Addicts Anonymous. You heard his experience, and he was encouraging us that it's very important when you approach things like therapy and support groups to keep an open mind to your situation and your circumstance, because you cannot do it alone, but you need other people to assist you. You can go there and learn behaviors or how to control your urges as an individual, or the desire to take part in those addictive behaviors. And we also notice that in as much as a person can try to cope with one problem, they can develop another. They can start to become an alcoholic, be dependent on, nicotine and other things.
Drug abuse.
Or you can even end up depressed. But it's also important. Medication is one of the things that people can actually benefit from. It can help you stop the substance abuse. It can also help you to work on the depression. So don't struggle, don't suffer in silence, guys. Reach out to someone. It can be your spiritual leader, spiritual mentor. It can be a professional. It can be a friend. It can be a brother. It can be a sister. Talk to someone. Thank you for listening in on today's episode. We love you. As Pinky always says,
spread love, be kind. Check out the rest of our episodes on YouTube, Apple, and Google Podcast, or anywhere you get your podcasts. There, you'll find more topics that you or a friend will definitely be interested in. Thank you for listening.